You may not be able to rent an apartment in Spain, and that's me talking after having visited over 15 real estate offices. Yes, I've been trying to find an apartment for rent for a very long time right now, but from what I can see, the conditions have changed to the point where a foreigner just isn't really able to rent an apartment in Spain anymore. Let me talk about the changes and what I have experienced so that you can understand and also use this information to your advantage. So I've been here in Spain. First, I spent a week in Malaga. I've been to about 10 real estate agents there. I talked to them. And the real estate situation, along the whole Mediterranean is pretty terrible. What's been happening is that there is a shortage of rental properties on the market. This is the symptom, but what are the underlying causes that made that happen? As you can guess, low interest loans, led to a mass influx in people purchasing properties because, if you pay low interest on your loans, then naturally you'll be able to afford them much easier. And if you don't need to put a lot of money down too, then it makes it an even better deal. So this is part of the problem, right? Another part of the problem, I think, is that a lot of people are unwilling to sell because they believe that these properties will be going up in value because right now we have a massive inflationary period. So I think this is undeniably another reason. Not so obviously, but a third reason is that people just don't want to rent out to foreigners because there's less security there. If they take a look at you and they think like, well, he can come and go anytime, he's not from Spain, and they don't even know if you have a fixed income source. And how do you prove that? Unless you are employed by a Spanish company, you may have a very, very hard time finding an apartment for rent in, Spain, especially in like Malaga, Almeria, Alicante, Valencia, any of these cities, it's going to be very difficult because of the shortage of properties. But then also, they would prefer renting to a local person, if it's for the long term, if they see that that person actually has an income, because for you, you can come and go anytime and your income is not verifiable if it's from overseas. They don't like that, they don't like that. And then a fourth reason, if you will, is that, they want to rent out by the week and by the month versus just, doing like a 12-month contract or a 24-month contract, and the reason why they want to do that is because they just make a lot more money renting by the week, doing weekly deals, doing monthly deals during the summertime, meaning May through September is when the magic happens, is when the average landlord just makes the most money from their rental properties in Spain. What they can make during the summertime, during these 4 months, they can't make during the remaining months of the year. They just can't. And so for them, it's like, well, I don't really care if anybody is in my apartment, from October through April because I'm not making much money there anyway. And I don't want to have somebody in there for like 12 months and then have the risk of them not paying me. Because in Spain, it's not so easy to kick somebody out of the apartment. If they can't afford to pay, then they're going to be in the apartment for a few months before you can eventually kick them out, and then you may not get the money back anyway. It's a very difficult situation like this all over Europe. It's not just like this in Spain, it's like this in Belgium, in Austria, in Portugal, all over the place. Now let me tell you what happened to me. My experience that happened was that I went to a bunch of offices, and the first question that they always ask is, what are you looking for? And I'm saying an apartment for rent, and most of them don't have any apartments for rent available because a lot of them just do sales. They want to get involved in property sales, not rental contracts, because with property sales they just make a lot more money than renting an apartment, where they maybe get 1 month commission. But if they help sell a property, they can earn whatever 2 to 4% of the property's value. So if they sell a property for 200,000 euros, then they can make 4,000 to 8,000 euros, which is a lot more than just €1,000 commission on a €1,000 rental property. That's how it works, and that's why a lot of real estate agents now prefer that. And when I went there, they were like, yeah, what are you looking for, this and that? We don't have anything available. Come back another time. Or where are you from? What do you do for a living? You know, they're asking these questions, and then when I say that, well, do you have income generated from within Spain? And then when I say no, they're like, well, it's going to be very difficult. And then if you have a dog as well, if you have any pets, it's pretty much impossible, because right now there's little supply and there's so much demand that landlords just don't want to rent out to a person with a pet, because, you know, there are potential issues, and they would prefer renting to somebody without a pet. But it's not the main problem. The main problem is there's just not enough properties. I have actually only viewed one apartment. You know, I've been to over 15 real estate agents, and I've only viewed one apartment, and that apartment was a run-down place that I would never rent. It was overpriced, and the conditions were really bad. And so what I told them was, yeah, I'm looking for 6 months, not 12 months, not 24, not 5 years, just 6 months, because I want to spend the summertime in Europe, and I want to have a fixed place. You know, I don't like switching every other week or every other month. You know, it's just not what I like to do. I like being somewhere for 3 to 6 months, and that's how I live my life. We're all different. But then I decided it's going to be very difficult, because there's very few properties available, and we're heading into the summer season, and you're a foreigner. And then I said, well, we have this one property, but you need to pay 6 months in advance. Well, that's not all. 6 months rent in advance, and 1 month deposit, and 1 month commission, which goes to the real estate agent. Now, this is a terrible deal, because all the risk is on you. They don't have any risk at all. And the agent tried to tell me, well, we still have all the risk. I'm like, you don't have any risk, because you're getting all the money up front. Where is your risk? Explain this to me. You know, they're just trying to sell it. And what I think they were trying to do is they were trying to sell me an apartment that they couldn't rent out to somebody else. You know, they were trying to do that, and it failed for whatever reason. And then I took a look at their Google reviews, and I saw one Google review talking about how they rented an apartment from this agency, and the neighbors were just terrible, and they couldn't move out. And they also had paid a lot up front. If you have, you know, like very young people as neighbors and they party all night long, you know, that's not going to be a nice place to live in. Doesn't matter if you're a normal person, and if you have a person right next to you, above you, below you, to your left, to your right, that makes a lot of noise, you know, you're not going to be happy spending a lot of time at home. That's just how it is. Maybe that's why they were trying to sell it to me so hard, because when I walked in, he was like, well, you know, we have this place, it's great, and I really like you. You know, when somebody tells you, when they see you, that they really like you, you know that they don't like you, but they like your money, because they want to, you know, sell it to you so bad. And so I rejected that place, because something didn't seem right there. And then when I read the review, you know, it kind of confirmed what I thought. What's the solution here? If you want to spend some time in Spain, how can you do it? You know, you came here all the way from wherever, you know, maybe from Asia, maybe from North America, maybe from Latin America, maybe from a different European country. Now you're here, but you cannot find an apartment for rent. What do you do? Well, depending on how long you want to stay, you know, it's going to be difficult for you to rent if it's for a longer period of time. If you just want to stay for like a month or 2 months, just do an Airbnb deal. You know, find an Airbnb. You have no risk there. You pay just for 1 month. You need to put down like 6 months in advance, and you don't know if that place is going to work out for you. And you don't need to spend weeks and weeks and weeks trying to find a place and have the risk of not finding one. Not be in the same situation that I am in right now, because I didn't do my due diligence. That's what you can do. You can do Airbnb. You can do any other website that does short-term rentals, you know, where, you know, you don't have any contract, where you don't need to have income from within Spain, that are going to be happy to rent it out for you, obviously at a higher price than what you would pay if you got committed into a long-term contract. But what other options do you have? You know, you want to get a job in Spain, you want to start a company in Spain, you know, you want to generate income from Spain so you can rent an apartment. Think about the process involved here. Think about the troubles involved here. It's probably not worth taking the time to make this happen. And what I've learned, because I have rented in Spain before, and it was many years ago, and back in those days, it was so easy. You just walked into a real estate agent's office, you told them what you needed, and you had a couple properties available, and you were able to choose one. And they weren't asking a lot of questions in terms of your income, in terms of other factors like pets. They didn't care about that. And again, there was a lot of supply. Now that there's so little supply, they can be very, very strict. They can be very choosy, because why wouldn't they? You know, if you had 10 offers, would you choose the worst one? You know, would you choose a local person? You know, would you choose somebody that would pay more? You know, you have these options. So of course, you choose the best deal for yourself. Did you have any success renting in Spain these days? Leave a comment below and let us know. Make sure you share this video with your friends. It helps me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'm uploading new videos on digital nomad locations, travel updates, visas, crypto advice, and business advice several times a week right now. I highly recommend that you grab a free copy of my ebook Nomad Elite, the Insider's Guide to Retaining a Life of Freedom. All you need to do is click on the link below the video. And if you got some more time left, check out these videos. Thank you for watching.